faith and logic. We never see a dog produce a non-dog. This is pure fantasy based on imagination. I want you to look, though, how the textbooks will change the definition of the word evolution. This textbook says evolution is change over time. Oh, well, who can argue with that? I agree, things change. Then it narrows it down. In other words, living things have changed over time. Oh, now you've narrowed it down to living things. Well, it looks to me like you're skipping the first 4 steps that would have to happen. I mean, what happened to cosmic, chemical, stellar, and organic? I mean, you're just going to ignore them as if it just take it as a given? I don't think so. That's a really major flaw in the evolution logic. Third, then they narrow it down again. Evolution can be defined as a change in species over time. Oh, well, I don't know anybody that would argue with that. Species change over time. The question is, are they limited? And the question is, do these changes lead to any macro changes? And the answer from all observable science is, no, they do not. If you want to believe they do, or they could have, or they might have, or given enough time, well, you're welcome to believe whatever you want. But now you've just gone into a fantasy world of religion. You've left science. And the topic of the debate tonight is evolution science. The first 5 meanings of the word are not science. What they really mean by evolution is all 6. They want you to think all 6 definitions are connected, and I can assure you they are not. There is no relationship between any of those. So what evidence do they give for the kids to believe this evolution theory? I collect textbooks. I have hundreds of them. Here's the typical evidence they use to support evolution, and I'm sure we'll see some of this tonight. They're going to say we've got evidence from fossils. I pointed out no fossil is it cannot possibly count for evolution. Evidence from structure. Evidence from molecular biology, DNA, we'll get into that. Evidence from development. They say the process of evolution is based on natural selection. Well, there's no evidence to support evolution except things that have been proven wrong years ago. We'll get into those in a minute. If there's real evidence for evolution, then please show me, but don't lie to the kids. I just think lies ought to be taken out of the textbooks, and then if you have anything left to support your theory, great, show it to me. But I'm telling you, what's being shown to the kids in this university to support the evolution theory is a bunch of things that have been proven wrong years ago. Get them out of the books and give me some real scientific evidence. Evolution is based on 2 faulty assumptions. They say mutations make something new and possibly better, sometimes worse, but hopefully it's better. Nobody's ever seen this happen. Then secondly, natural selection is supposed to make it survive and take over the population. Well, if you follow that logic through, evolution is a religion of death. In order for evolution to work, one animal has to evolve a little better than the rest. Then what must happen to the rest of them in order for this good change to work? They all got to die. You follow that logic just a few more steps and you're Adolf Hitler. Let's just speed up the process and kill off those that we think are inferior. And we'll save the superior ones, you know, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Norwegians and Germans. Yeah, sure, you betcha, okay? This textbook says mutations are the original source of variation. There's no question mutations happen, but they do not produce evolution. Mutations produce changes that are almost always fatal or certainly harmful. Nobody's ever demonstrated a positively beneficial mutation. There's a 5-legged bull, that's a mutant, but no new information is added. Here's a short-legged sheep, that's a mutant. But again, no new information is added. It's a loss of information. Here's a 2-headed turtle, that's a mutant. It's not ninja, but it's mutant, okay? And he's going to freeze first winter because nobody makes a double-neck turtleneck sweater. See? Mutations are scrambling existing information. Like scrambling up the letters of the word Christmas, you can get all sorts of different words. But you will never get Xerox, zebra, or queen out of the word Christmas because the letters are not available. A mutation should really produce some new information. This textbook shows the kids a fruit fly. Look what it says here. Boys and girls, normal fruit flies have 2 wings. This mutant has 4. By the way, he can't fly. This rare mutation, like most mutations, is harmful. Then it says, beneficial mutations are the raw material for natural selection. Oh, now hold on just a minute. Why didn't they give an example of a beneficial mutation? Why would they show the kids a bad one and then tell them, good ones is how it works? Show me a good one. Nobody's ever seen a good one. One guy told me, oh, I know a good one. He said, people in Africa that get sickle cell anemia cannot get malaria. Well, that's just brilliant. That's like saying if you cut off your legs, you can't get athlete's foot. Both sickle cell and malaria are detrimental. That's not an advancement. Think about it. They're going to say evolution and natural selection go together. No, it does not. Natural selection selects. It doesn't create, it selects. You can only select if there's something to select from. We had at our place a few weeks ago the world's smallest horse. Suppose I said, I'm going to get all the horses in the world, and I'm going to try to get horses that are the size of a flea. So anything over the size of a flea, I'm going to kill them all and let only those under the size of a flea survive. How long would it take me to get a population of horses the size of a flea? It'll never happen because I have nothing to select from. Natural selection selects, it does not create. And how they get this idea that natural selection will create something, I don't know. It just simply selects. All biologists know it does not create properties. But Darwin said evolution by natural selection was going to be the way it happened. And this textbook says evolution by natural selection had occurred in just 1 year with the finches. Oh, come on. Darwin observed 14 varieties of finches on the Galapagos Islands. All he saw was that finches produce finches. Now, if you want to believe they came from a rock, well, you just go ahead and believe that, but that's not science. This textbook says natural selection can lead to evolution. I disagree. That is simply pure propaganda. Natural selection selects, it does not lead to any changes within the kind, or other than within the kind. It only causes varieties to be produced. If you worked in a factory that produced cars, and your job was quality control, check the cars before they sell them. You know, kick the tires, slam the doors, walk around, drive it, see if it works, okay? If you weeded out every single mistake, how long would it take to change the car to an airplane? You say, it never will. That's my point. Quality control can make it a good car and keep it a good car, but it can't change it to something else. And natural selection can keep it a good species, but it can't change it to something else. That's the whole point. You may get a big dog or a little dog, but you're going to get a dog, folks. There are some pretty bizarre varieties among the dog family, but they're all dog. And believe it or not, the Chihuahua and the Great Dane are still interfertile, except for a few mechanical problems, but it can be done, okay? Probably the dog, the wolf, and the coyote had a common ancestor. I wouldn't argue about that. But every kid knows they're the same animal. Anybody in the room here 5 or 6 or 7 years old? No, little ones. Well, I normally do this with a 5-year-old, and I'll ask them, okay, boys and girls, here we have a dog, a wolf, a coyote, and a banana. Which one is not like the others? Every single time they get it, okay, it's the banana. A child can tell you it's always the same kind. National Geographic ran an article about wolf to woof, how dogs evolve from wolves. I agree, but it's not evolution. It's a variety of the same kind, and they're still interfertile. And that's what the Bible says the kind definition was, those that can bring forth. So nothing new was created. The Bible says they bring forth after his kind, and if you got an exception to that, I'd like to see it. Variations happen, but they are limited. Farmers have been trying for years to get bigger pigs, but they're never going to get a pig as big as Texas. There are limits. Roaches down where I live in Florida become resistant to pesticides after a while. Like bacteria become resistant to drugs. I agree. But the roaches will never become resistant to a sledgehammer, okay? There is a limit. And the bacteria have limits to how far they can vary within their already existing gene code. They always produce the same kind of plant or animal. That's not really evolution because the information was already present in the gene code. No new information is added. Real evolution would be new information. How long would the Chihuahuas last in the real world, huh? All these varieties that we get, if it wasn't for somebody protecting them, they wouldn't survive. Turn all the Chihuahuas loose back into the woods. They'd run up to the wolf. Yip, 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 yip. Crunch. End of gene pool, right? Genetic information is always lost, not added. Real evolution means an increase in genetic complexity. I defy anybody to show me where that's happened and produced any changes in the population. I grew up in Illinois, corn country. We got so many kinds of corn, they number them. But you can crossbreed your corn from now till the cows come home, and you'll always get corn. You will never get a hamster or a tomato or a whale to grow on your corn stalk, okay? It ain't gonna happen. Variety of dogs happen, I agree. This Irish textbook calls it divergent evolution. They say the poodle, the terrier, and the collie had a common ancestor. Oh, come on, it's still a dog. Giving it a fancy name doesn't change the facts. It's not divergent evolution, it's a variety of dog. That's deceptive. See, they're going to give this as evidence for evolution, and then the kid psychologically is going to think the whole theory's been proven, when nothing could be further from the truth. This Mexican textbook says the zebra and the horse had a common ancestor. I agree, and it looked like a horse. 4-wheel drive, genuine leather upholstery, all the standard equipment. Okay, it was a horse. They got big horses and little horses today, all kinds of them. And it's interesting, horses, they're limits. They're limited. There's some folks in California that have contests. They crossbreed horses, zebras, donkeys. They get zorses, zonkies, zionis, z-donks, and chibras. Here's their website.